Hi everyone. Um, I am woman. Jennifer here. I am woman. You can choose depending on the type of energy I comes through. So if you come in from my prior videos, you know what's happening with me. So I am starting to realize that these videos are actually a testimony and a journaling of my own awakening, which is so weird. So, if you just logging in or catching up, let me just freshen you in. I have lost my job on July 16th, and that day, you know, from a linear perspective, from this dimension, it might be experienced as the worst day of your life. But from an energical, spiritual, inner world process, this is what we call the death of the ego. Whew, let me tell you. It's like my first reaction to it kind of shows how I navigated it, because if you don't navigate it from a place of love and understanding, you're only making it harder for yourself. So that point needs to be really emphasized. It's like you have to develop this inner love for your heart, for yourself. That embodiment comes gradually through facing certain fears within yourself. And then it's like you get peeled like an onion. I know people hear these things, but it's like when it presents itself in our world, we run away. And this is why it is said, if you have been on this path for a long time, I'm gonna bring up some spiritual words that people throw out there and kind of validate or define in a linear way, where it gets confusing, because I've seen spiritual leaders, which is really scary, say one thing but energetically embodying it differently, which means they can easily lure people into identifying with a concept of that spiritual word as opposed to the reality of it, right? The reality cannot be explained. And I feel like, although I've been pushed, if you watch the first video I've made, you can sense the nerves. That's why, like, the masculine kind of came out, stepped in, and I was soothed, because there was still fears present. Um, so after that, facing myself after July 16th, it's the growth, it's witnessing and affirming the new version of myself. So I'm gonna do these little videos. I realize I don't have to finish chapter 2 of the Me Time Chronicles, because I have also written poetries for myself, for my heart. This, I'm feeling creative. Yes, I lost a job. I'm a single mom, and yes, there are these things that are presenting themselves, but they don't have the hold they used to have on my life before. It's like I'm experiencing a new version of me. And I just want to share it with the world, because it's like everything has fallen into place. Truly, we are not alone. We are not. Truly, just know, if you're about to check out, I don't care. You just need to know you are not alone. You just need to learn to love yourself. What does that mean, to love yourself? Yeah, what does it really mean from a place of truth? No hiding from yourself, not trying to love yourself from the eyes of other people, from an external basis. Whether you're a man or a woman, we all have a masculine and a feminine aspect to ourselves. Now, the masculine, which is basically deeply rooted into you from your perspective that of your dad, like how you view your dad. This is all, if you are passionate about psychology, you can document, learn more about this in reading books of Carl Jung. He has enlightened things for me, because my deep search, I've been yearning to really discover what it means to love, to really love. What does it mean? And I have approached this from an external perspective, which led me to uh, growing up, with abusive parents, whether my mom, my dad. An example, my dad used to tie me up and beat me with branches, but or belts, or wooden sticks, or slaps. My mother, her abuses were quite different. Yes, there were some physical aspects to it, but it was more an emotional, aspect. But so that led to her own suicide, facing the abuses from my dad, um, and then to my own suicide attempt. Yet I'm still here. Then my sexual abuse, emotional abuses from my siblings, my marriage, which was the biggest lesson of them all. It's wow. I I can only be grateful, It was a testament to the level of control I imposed on myself. That's a scary truth, and all of that is now connecting after July 16th, because again, I'm gonna recall it a little bit, right? It's but I will document all of this in my Me Time Chronicles. All right. So on July 16th, first thing in the morning, my boss set up a meeting. I got disconnected from the the drive, and they were letting me go. It's like I knew that it was coming, and I felt like on some deep level I've been prepared for this moment, and I had to kind of like you. I did not want to feel defeated, and I did not want to present, that face of being defeated, because I knew it was not a defeat. And no matter how things presented themselves, I didn't want to overreact, because I've tested all of those things in the past. I have overreacted. I have felt so wounded by this inner masculine. It was scary to face at times. I needed to scream out my pain at times. But yeah, so yesterday, after facing that and not making it about my boss, because oddly enough, I got fired after I spoke to the HR manager about abuses, emotional abuses and control that I observed from the controller. And then a few days later, oddly enough, my work is no longer efficient. Although I started as a temp, and less than 2 months they offered me a permanent position, because I was doing a great job. So now, a month after, when I report this guy, it's like I get fired. I'm like, that this is like it's presented in this way, and you want to hate this person. But I was like, no, this guy gave me a chance, man. Yeah, he helped me pay my rent. What? As a single mom, and I'm working from home, I refuse to hate him. No. Yes, I understand, because I've been prepared. I did observe that there's a veil that people are under. Not everybody has the capacity to see both sides the way I do. And I have hidden myself for so long. And I'm now, as I went through my divorce and I'm being thrown in the world like this, yes, awakening, everybody thinks being awakened is just like a path and, the world is beautiful. No, that's not how it works. It's like You have to commit to it, and sometimes you're gonna want to run. I've been evicted from my apartment. Some days I didn't even know how I'm gonna eat the next day, and being a single mom, it's like I've been put in situations where it's how you wonder, why me? Why can't I just be like, have fun like everybody else? And it just all makes sense. It was just for this moment, like sharing this journey, because my and this is the energy you're gonna be hit with, right? It's this energy of knowing that everything is gonna be okay, but you know what's coming. You're gonna have to face yourself. You growing up, and you've been blaming everybody around yourself to escape it. But it's like you need to learn to go beyond the distractions. It's like, what is this person showing me about myself? This is like the mirror, effect that again gets a little bit confusing for people, because I've seen and I heard people say I'm using the mirror technique, and they're avoiding the whole point of it. It's not about singing kumbaya and just accepting what is being, and pretending to accept it, because everything is internal. You can pretend all you want. You're gonna keep facing this aspect of yourself in your reality until you face it, until you confront it, until you truly, get to accept it, because that's what growth is. Yeah, so on July 16th, after I overcame it was like an internal battle, facing my deeply rooted fears, which is the masculine, this masculine that I was born into. So this is what we call karma. You are born into a set of energies, which is where, your growth, needs to be applied, right? So the whole journey, the whole purpose, which is expressed again in a very individual energy, is you falling in love with yourself. Yeah, it's like it's we think it's easy. We think we've been loving ourselves this whole time, and we're waiting for people to love us back, and we beg them, and we choke them, and we put them in cages. All those are concepts. We force our children to perpetuate these type of energies, and it's like, at a point, we are the root of our own suffering. We've been creating these ideas, this feminine aspect of ourselves and a masculine aspect of ourselves that comes from generation and generation of fear. How do we put an end to it? Everybody is looking outside, thinking that you have to just get yourself aligned. Everything is in energy. So it's like, as we learn in our own life to detach and to find the alignment within ourselves, we get to create on a collective level a better world for each other, you see, for all of us. Because at the end of the day, the deeper you go within yourself, the less and less you see other people. You just like, guys, we are living on this earth together. Your concept of family, even get destroyed. I had to let go of and that was also what happened on July 16th, right? So because my ex-husband and my ex-boyfriend, you'll see through the journey how they, letting go happened. But as I faced my ex-husband, right? So right after the job left, my sense of security was to grab on to my ex-husband, which, in looking at yourself, it revealed that generation on the female aspect, from my mom and my grandmother side, right? My grandmother on my dad's side, my grandmother on my dad's side was offered as a gift from her dad to my grandfather, who had 80 wives. So just on that level, because I'm from Benin, a small country in West Africa, you will discover this, right? Just on that level, that gives you a concept of what has been embedded into me, right? Because my grandma on my dad's side growing up would prostrate herself in front of my dad day and night. uh, so just to give you an idea of the presence my father had, in my life, it's really deep. um, so in facing my ex-husband and watching myself emotionally, it exposed the fear, right, of dependency. A lot of women, female aspects of ourselves, whether you're a woman or a man, right, is the idea of a woman we have. And this idea of a woman, for me, was that generation in my lineage on both sides of the family, mom and dad side, depending on their husband, depending on the male aspect of themselves, right? They didn't feel like they could make it. They didn't have trust in their own selves. So gaining independence always meant getting married at a certain age, having children. That way you can lock a man down, you know so this, like, it made me really, because it's like I've been looking for freedom, and yet instead of confronting, now I don't have a job, how do we approach this, and how do I trust myself and go for it, I went to this guy to seek approval or support, and it's like, just hearing the conversation, it's like a test, right? It was a build up. And in hearing the conversation, I was able to detach myself. And I mean, this guy has been manipulative. Wow, it's been quite a level of growth. But it's like in that moment, realizing that he was just reflecting to me the own manipulations that have been imposed onto him by society and his own mother. you know what does it mean to be a good boy? And it's like this person has been trying and doing everything to appear like a good boy, but okay, you read the journey. It was quite scary, and it was me projecting this idea of my masculine on him. Holy crap, that was like, you see, it's like the masculine, right? It's our imagination, our idea of society, the world, we are creating it from this masculine, right? And it's like the idea of the masculine on July 16 slapped me with its dick. It was like, it was hard. I had to grab it and be like, I've been afraid to look at it. I was like, no. And then you look at it and you're like, wait a second. What? I could have just moved it and then create the version that I think I deserve. That, my friend, it's like you are unconscious. You go through this, death unconsciously. It's like afterwards, it's been 4 days until today, right now, I was like, wow, it all makes sense. It was me. I created this. Then he brought me to Derek. We haven't discovered Derek yet, but yes, Derek, the love of my life, my twin flame for you out there, eternal romantics. Wondering why you have to put yourself in tiny little cages and push it down so deep in there, wondering why no man can love you for who you are. Well, you have that key. You have the key to that cage, whether you're a man or a woman. Again, it's at the end of the day, the type of abuses, we accept from people, our most intimate version of ourselves, the type of abuses we accept in the name of love, on a linear perspective. What is real love? What is truth? Love is truth. How can you love someone when you never your real self around them? When you're so scared to walk on eggshell. If you say the wrong thing, they will abandon you. all you hide all you're doing is just hiding from yourself. Why? If you have to speak your truth, you get abandoned, right? It's like, let's think about that. And it's like in really watching this, because when I called him, he didn't pick up. Yeah. It's like I started understanding that when you resonate from different frequency. I've been trying to keep myself down in a cage so people can really see me, and I realized that I can just be me. And why hide? Why not just be me? And this is who you're gonna get to see. That's why I said don't bother posting comments, because that's also an energy of trying to be accepted, pleasing other people. I'm not gonna read them. But and this is said with pure love. This is supposed to be fun, not work. I don't want to spend time responding to people. If this helps you, great. That's the whole point. What does it mean to awaken to your own purpose? That's the real question. That's the quest we are all on. No matter how we disguise it, right? The distraction, it's part of the whole game. But how do you move beyond the distraction is where we get caught up. We get caught up by losing ourselves, and that getting fired is a great example. How did I know that getting fired, if I was just perceiving it with my ego, right? It's like something bad has happened. It's the end of the world. I don't know how to pay rent. That's it. So let's just cut the, so that the intensity of this energy, there's no need to describe it. You can all feel it. This is what we've been living in, right? But then you look at it from a spiritual level and you're like, hindsight being 2020. I was in the unknown. I didn't know what was coming. I just kept taking them one point. I'll cry for an hour, because crying is good. It's just you putting your armor down. It's you surrendering, So you just say, I don't have any other way. These jobs keep being taken from me. But all I did was just that, I want to be shown the same respect I'm showing everybody. What's so wrong with that? If I'm doing something wrong, just tell me, But I realize that a lot of people cannot speak the truth. They've been beaten down by their own psyche unknowingly, and I are all coming from a perspective of fear at every moment of the hour. And having been there and being here now, it's like, it's not so dramatic. We can help each other out, It's learning to just take a deep breath and saying, and knowing that you are not alone. Just look at yourself. Everything is gonna be okay. You're gonna nurture yourself back to health anyway, because you're still here. You've been here. You've been overcoming it, right? So give yourself first a little break, right? Let's get maybe a bowl of ice cream, a tub of it. Who cares? Just give yourself something good that you're not gonna judge yourself on. If you want to take a nap, you will decide. This is how you start igniting your heart, right? Although you've been trying to navigate this reality and it feels frightening sometimes, it's just retracting, sitting in silence. This is what we call meditation. It has to be a silence that is perceived from within. It doesn't mean you have to sit like this and hum. No, that's not silence. That's more noise, right? So it's finding what brings you silence. And some people get silence in swimming. Some people get silence in walking. Some people get silence in dancing. That's a meditation I do. Dancing is a very powerful affirmation. Truly being free and manifesting from that space. It's very healing. So it's like learning to trust yourself enough not to approach spirituality from an external perspective where you need a guru, you need someone to chant to, someone externally, and when that is taken away, it creates like a war within yourself, then it's expressed externally. Again, these are how you get proof of manifesting your reality, by really confronting it and knowing what it is showing you about yourself, right? It all comes back to us. No matter how long you stay distracted by other people, eventually you will come back home. That's the only path for all of us. So how long it takes you, it's your decision, so here, that's this is my piece for today. Yes, so after Derek, right, it's like, what we talk about twin flame soulmates and all of these, right? Soulmates are all the mates, the people you share your journey with, and twin flames are the highest, most reflection of your intimacy with yourself, right? So it indicates, twin flame, the depth of the bond between these two people, the reflection of each other. But what people mean to say is, what happens when you're two twin flame and you are on different frequency, right? You see them as the best version of themselves, but they project onto you, because they're incapable of facing their own fears, the worst version of yourself. And you there trying to defend yourself against that, and spending your whole life running away from these, projections, and because it makes you face the masculine that you are projecting into this reality. And that was really frightening for me. It was really, so in calling him yesterday, these insights come to you, and it's like there's nothing you can do. You can fight it, but like the bond that you've been developing with yourself, it becomes so loud, you cannot ignore it. When you get the insight that you need, you need to call your your masculine. You can avoid it all you want, but that's another analysis. Why am I avoiding it? What is coming up? It's no more hiding from yourself. Means like everything comes into light, because you are the light itself, right? You illuminate everything. There's no hiding anymore. You're not scared anymore. So it's like he didn't pick up. Yes, that's how I've been punished. You get rejected, for speaking your truth. But because they view the world from a very linear perspective, right? How do you let go? It's like, yes, he's a twin flame, but you see, this is what has made my mother sustain the abuses of my father, right? Pushing her to pour gasoline all over herself when I was 9 years old and burn herself alive. It's like we subject ourselves to these, fears. It's like we trap ourselves with them. I'm like, okay, so the guy is a twin flame, yes, the bond is deep, and so what? The bond with my heart is deeper. Why have I been chasing this thing? And it's like I have been refusing for this masculine to change. I've been trapping him at that frequency, because it's unacceptable. I deserve better. I know it, because I treat myself better. So why am I, it's like you have to let people grow at their own pace. This world is filled with masculine, why we hold on. It's like, what I feel for this person is so deep. Yeah, okay, but it's a lesson. You need to feel something deeper for yourself, right? It's like you're attaching. This is what we call attachment, right? You attach to this idea. He has to be the one to change. He has to be the version I want so I can love him. What type of love is that? That's not love. That's control. That's conditioned idea of what a man should be. You see, you're enforcing it into your reality, and that's not how it works. You have to change it within. You have to really let go. And this letting go, right, for this has been the barrier, because my love for this person goes very deeply, you know. It's like giving twin flame is not enough to describe it. Yeah, so yesterday was really coming, it has, the letting go with this person has come into layers, you know. I've been really tested to stand for myself, you know. And that's how I was able to peel this layer, learning to nurture myself and not get lost into what this masculine is projecting onto me and reflecting about my idea of the masculine. Yeah, so letting him go ultimately brought me to my deepest fear, to be rejected by my dad, you know. Yeah, and besides all the abuses, you know, I have, all this journey has shown me they were all these men are a reflection of different aspects of my father, you know. And really seeing that he is as lost as we in this reality as everybody, all of us, you know. He has no concept, or he's holding on to the concepts that were passed on to him by, you know, of women, from people like my grandmother, throwing themselves at his feet for means of survival, because they don't know how to fend for themselves, you know. And on my mom's side, the masculine has been reflected through even my grandmother going through um, sexual abuse from her father. These are really deeply anchored fears into me. These are generations. This has been going on and perpetuated in cycles through generation and generation. Um, yeah, so facing that, and of course he as well did not pick up, you know. You see, it's like it's the identical reflection of my dad, those aspects I've held on to. And these were the men I have been attracting into my life. But what happens if you love those men and you have to let them go, you know? How do you get there? It's a self-love thing. You will get there, you know. You just need to know and tell yourself every day, you are worth it. It's you developing, it's like your value is budding, and you have to make space for it, right? It's like sometimes we like, no, don't grow, it will push ourselves down. But it's like learning to let go. You want to be worth more than people are telling you that you are worth. There's nothing wrong with that. You just need to learn how to allow it to be. And all of that is always disguised as illusions. You know, they distract us, but it's just being a learning to see beyond that and really not get lost into what it's saying about other people, but really looking at yourself and seeing what it says about you. Yeah, so even though my dad didn't pick up, right, the test is an internal one. Again, this is again where people get lost, right? You like, I have to forgive this person, but they're not letting me. Like, forgiveness is inside. It's not something you do, or you just have to recognize it inside, no matter what the person, how long. It can take them 20 years. So you're going to keep yourself in this cage, you know, for 20 years. No, that's not how it works. It's an internal conversation. You know, you accepting things the way they are and forgiving. This was a bridge. Calling everybody was a bridge I extended to them to move into, you know, the frequency, this thing, this reality that I'm discovering and that I want to share with the world, you know. But this cannot be forced. That bridge is there as a protection as well. It's like, this is where I am and this is where I stand. If you are willing, I am here. So if you are willing to grow, feel free to join me. I'll be here to welcome you. Right? It's learning how to say these things positively within ourselves, not condemn uh, the people we love. That's not a healthy separation. So as I reached that, it's like overnight ideas, I'm getting more creative, and I still do not know what's gonna happen, but I feel good. Yeah, I feel good. I'm gonna read now my poetry, and I guess we'll keep going with this and see where it lands me. Okay, so thank you. And this piece is called I Am Woman. From the inner glow of my infinite love to the inviting warmth of my womb, I am woman. Mother to the universe, birthed as an affirmation of internal bliss within me. I am woman. Hear my roar resonate through the wind of time. Feel my tears wash away all the sorrow of the world. For I am woman, here and now and in all eternity. By the will of the original I am essence that I am, as it is in harmony with Blessed Mother Cosmos, in accordance to the supreme universal original source divine will, then so it is.